guys, welcome back to another episode of Pure EVil MMA Podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Podomatic, wherever you're tuning in. Thank you so much. We have so much to discuss. There's been a lot of really exciting headlines unraveling in 2018, which really gets a lot of people out there excited because 2017 really was a slow year for the most part. 2018 is kicking off with some huge headlines here, and we have a lot to discuss. Kicking off with UFC 220, and also the fights that went down this weekend with Souza and Brunson. We have so much to discuss, and UFC Pickem Winners as well to announce. So thank you so much for tuning in to Pure EVil MMA. Before we get into all the headlines that's been going about Ronda Rousey, about Nate Diaz, everything. Make sure you guys subscribe down below here on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, YouTube, and you can find all the Pure EVil MMA content at mymmanews.com. And we have a huge announcement, guys. We got new merch up, whether you want new hoodies, new t-shirts, we got girls tees, we got mugs, we got stickers for $4. And it's all at teespring.com/pureevil. So any support out there, if you want to rep the street gear for Pure EVil MMA, we got hoodies, tank tops, anything, all sizes. So teespring.com/pureevil and get your hands on some of the latest 2018 Pure EVil MMA gear. Alright, so let's jump into today's show. We have a lot to discuss. Like I said, Ronda Rousey back in the news, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, Eddie Alvarez, even Kevin Lee. There's a lot that we need to discuss here, and also Souza. We got UFC Pickem Winners and some engagements. Let's jump into it here at Pure EVil MMA, episode number 66. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Let's do it. Alright, so UFC 220, I think, surprised a lot of people, but didn't surprise a lot of people at the same time. I mean, going into it, we saw two guys in the main event and co-main event that really had a puncher's chance. There really are levels to this game, and as Volkan Ozdemir got past that first round, that he realized that, and you can tell that he was like, shit, there's no way I'm going to be able to finish this guy. But Volkan Ozdemir definitely deserved a shot, so we can't take that away from him. Man, DC just showed that he's part of an elite group of people that can go 5 rounds. 5 rounds is not an easy thing. Not many people can wear that badge of saying that they've been through a 5-round title fight. And Volkan Ozdemir, man, I'm sure that he's going to develop as the years go on. This was probably too soon for him, obviously. This clearly was too soon for Volkan Ozdemir, and that goes without saying for Francis Ngannou as well, which I'm a little worried. Maybe I shouldn't say worried about Francis Ngannou, but I'm questioning if maybe Francis Ngannou wants to switch over to boxing. Now, hear me out. This is something that Francis Ngannou originally jumped into combat sports looking to do. He wanted to do boxing, but they were like, no, let's do MMA. I think you have a great shot there. And now that he has such a huge name for himself on top of it all, I think the boxing community would definitely welcome him over, because I would tune in to watch Francis Ngannou box. Would you not tune in to watch Francis Ngannou box without having to worry about being taken down? I'm all game. So is Francis Ngannou on that same page, or does he want to take the time, because it is going to take time to develop his game? You know, he had a tough time against Stipe Miocic. In the first round was definitely one of the best rounds that we've seen in a long time, especially in the heavyweight division. I was at the edge of my seat. I know that everybody at my fight party was at the edge of their seat. Like, if you weren't buying for just a second that Francis Ngannou could possibly go in there and just wreck Stipe Miocic with a heavy shot. I'll tell you, in the first minute, it kind of seemed like Stipe Miocic was kind of trying to do the same thing that Overeem was doing, really looking to push him up against the cage and look for a takedown. And it almost seemed like the same thing was about to happen, where Stipe was like a little worried about the power of Francis Ngannou, but he did a great job with his head movement. First of all, that's one thing I really want to point out. He dodged a lot of heavy shots, and I don't know if you guys have ever thrown a punch before, but putting all that power behind a haymaker and missing really drains your levels. Even if you play baseball, you can kind of relate to this. When you're at bat and you see a huge opportunity where, like, shit, this is my home run hit right here, and then all of a sudden there's a curve to it that comes out of nowhere, and you swing and you miss, it takes something out of you. It takes a good amount of energy out of you. Like, after the first round, Francis Ngannou couldn't even get up. He was just so drained, and this is another issue of, like, why were you not ready for the cardio? Like, I really feel like Francis Ngannou's team wasn't taking it serious. I don't think they were giving Stipe Miocic much credit, and this goes for Dana White as well, in the mind of Stipe Miocic, and I think that Stipe needs to second guess that. I don't think that Dana White was betting against him, but I even said it on the last week's episode that Francis Ngannou would be a huge superstar for the UFC. I mean, just what he stands for. He doesn't have to say one word, but just dominating force that he is, the power that he is, and taking people out in highlight reel knockouts. I mean, you could tell that, maybe the UFC is pushing for that, and I think Stipe definitely felt that. I think a lot of people felt that, but I don't think you should get his mind wrapped too much in it. I mean, Chael Sonnen says it best when he goes, they have to build your opponents up. For people to want to tune in, they have to build your opponents up. And if this guy is coming through, knocking people like Alistair Overeem out, you have to promote it in a sense where people need to be worried about the champ losing his belt. Somebody like Stipe Miocic that really connects with the community, the blue-collar community. I mean, I really think that a lot of people jumped on board for Stipe after this win. I think that he proved to a lot of people there's just a humanizing aspect about him winning that fight. Like I said, connected with a large audience. So as much as Stipe wants to play the note or the game of the UFC is against me, like we've seen Cyborg do, like we've seen Nate Diaz do, I think you should put the brakes on and almost thank the UFC. Like, if it wasn't for the UFC pushing the freak show aspect of what Francis Ngannou could probably do, you wouldn't have the turnout or even the respect now that you've won. I mean, it almost seems like you defeated Goliath now that the UFC's promoted him like that. So I do understand why Stipe wanted to have his coach put the belt on him, but at the same time, you got to take what Dana does and says with a grain of salt and realize that he has a product that he's trying to sell to people. So when he's at the press conference saying that Francis Ngannou was the punch of whatever, as Stipe is right there and really not doing much to promote the champ, you can't really get upset about it. You need to sell the product, and I think Dana White did a great job because there were a lot of people in like my circle of people around here in the city, which I watch fights with or talk about fights when I'm hanging out with them, that didn't really know who Francis Ngannou was until the Overeem fight, because like the group of people that I was with for the Overeem fight, they were shook for Overeem. Like they really thought Overeem was dead. And I did too for a second. I didn't think he was dead, but I thought he was seriously hurt. And after that fight, you gotta think that Francis Ngannou gained so much respect, and now that Stipe's beat him, Stipe is now getting the respect carried over because he's now defeated a force which people thought was unstoppable. If you get what I'm saying, I might have lost a couple of listeners, but hope you get what I'm saying here. So, Stipe Miocic versus DC has just been announced for the Ultimate Fighter Season 27. So, before you guys want to call me out, because I was on board and was reporting too that it was going to be Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. And unfortunately, I was wrong, but Colby Covington did say that it was offered to him. Woodley turned it down. He had shoulder surgery. Shoulder surgery.
Hey, Tyron Woodley, I'm coming for you. If you don't answer the front door, I'm going to knock it.
But now here we go, guys. DC versus Stipe, and this is for the heavyweight title. Another champion versus championship fight. For those of you guys out there that don't know, check this out. We got DC versus Stipe. Then we have Cyborg versus Nunes, which is lurking in the background, which might be set up. Then there's Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson versus TJ Dillashaw. That is looking to be set up. So there you go. There's 3 title fights for champion versus champion, which turns out to be 6 divisions that are held up right now. This is an issue. Like, the UFC is creating such a huge mess with all of this. There is so much confusion behind the Tony Ferguson versus Khabib fight already. We don't know if it's for the undisputed title. We don't know if it's for the interim title. The UFC is promoting Tony Ferguson as the champion. They're selling this fight as the undisputed title fight, but yet Conor McGregor is still holding the belt, and Dana White, when asked, will not answer it. And there's just so much confusion out there. It really just doesn't seem like they even give a fuck about the belts. It really just seems like they're just using the belts as a marketing tool, because there's people out there that don't know, and if they see the word champion, or they're going to believe it. Little do they know that it's really just all bullshit. And like I said, this goes back for me for the past couple of years now, the way I've been looking at the interim title and the actual title. Back in the day with the cavemen, or the kings and the queens, there's only one queen. There's only one king. There should only be one belt and one champion. There shouldn't be an interim champion. This is just confusing as fuck. Because now you have somebody like Conor McGregor, who had an amazing fight at UFC 205, beating Eddie Alvarez, becoming the 2 division weight champion. And then 2017 rolls around and we get this crazy fight with Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather. So the UFC is also, keep in mind, promoting this. The UFC is promoting McGregor versus Mayweather. So even though Conor McGregor is not fighting inside the octagon, he still is under the UFC in a way, because Dana White is pushing for him behind the scenes and promoting him. So you really do got to consider Conor as active in my book. It's not like he has been gone. And for everybody that's been bitching about it, damn well you sat there and watched Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather that night. So don't say that he's inactive. He is inactive from the octagon, but come on, guys. There's just so much more added confusion now with the UFC, because they throw this interim title out there to us and have Tony Ferguson as the interim champion versus Khabib for the undisputed title, but Conor isn't stripped. What are you waiting for? What's going on here? And we're going to get into this in a second with the Nate Diaz. Maybe this is the perfect segue for the Nate Diaz segment, actually.
If someone's saying they're the baddest badass in the room, I believe that'll be the first one to step up and beg to differ.
Nate Diaz sending out cryptic tweets this week saying that he's tired of waiting for Conor McGregor, that he wants some action. So what's it going to be? Is it going to be Nate Diaz versus Eddie Alvarez? Is it going to be Nate Diaz versus Kevin Lee? There's just so much confusion out there with UFC headbutting with the actual champions, and the fans have something to do with it too, because there's probably a lot of you guys out there that won't agree with me here, that you say Conor should be stripped, and I do agree too. At the same time, if he's not going to return until September, strip him. If you're playing something for Conor McGregor, and I really do think it has to do with GSP, because if you guys been listening to the podcast last week, I told you that GSP's camp was visited by John Kavanaugh, Conor McGregor's coach. So I think that's the way that they're moving. I think that they're going to have that for the title fight. I originally wanted the UFC to just do this. Before they put the interim title out, why didn't you just have Tony versus Khabib for the title eliminator, winner fights come? That's it. I mean, this is the fourth time they set up Tony versus Khabib, but hopefully this time it will go through. But there's just so much confusion. And now 6 divisions are held up. And you can thank the UFC. If you were a fighter out there, if you were a fan that's complaining that it's just not fair, these fighters, at the same time, these fights are going to be entertaining. So I am looking forward to seeing Amanda versus Cyborg. I've been kind of promoting that. I've been wanting to see Cyborg versus Amanda. DC versus Stipe. That's going to be a great season of Ultimate Fighter, even though the ratings for Ultimate Fighter have been in the shitter. I'll tune in and watch it. That will be kind of fun. If we really sit down and think about it, WWE is really winning right now. I mean, they had Ronda Rousey come over this week, and with the Fox deal on the table, it just seems like Ultimate Fighter really isn't selling it. So we'll see what the reactions are. We'll see what happens as it all pans out. What do you guys think about all this? Are you just as confused as I am about all of this? Let me know on Twitter at evil_echo. That's EVIL_ECCO, and also on Instagram at Pure EVil MMA. So this weekend, Jacare Souza had his rematch with Derek Brunson, and it went the way that a lot of people expected, including myself. Jacare Souza gets the TKO in the very first round over Derek Brunson. Now, this fight really went under the radar for a lot of people. I mean, there was some exciting fights, but really for the most part, especially on Fox, I was really surprised. Like it just said seconds ago, the UFC really plans on making another deal with Fox and FS1. Why are they giving them these garbage cards? And I mean, no disrespect to any of the fighters on there, but this card went really under the radar and should have been promoted a little more, in my opinion. It was in the shadow of UFC 220, and a lot of people didn't even know who was fighting on this card, which it's the UFC's fault. And for them to match up on a Fox card and really not promote it or have some bigger names on it on the main card, it just feels like a loss here. And I really don't think the numbers even were that good, especially compared to Bellator. I mean, I doubt they're even far off from what Bellator pulled in this weekend. Not only was it early on in the day, which is good for the UK fans for sure. I mean, I know a lot of UK fans out there need to be blessed with a card that is more convenient time for you. I understand that, but over here in America, you're losing a lot of viewers, if you like it or not. It's the truth. You're losing a lot of viewers in that time span. I mean, the card here started at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on UFC Fight Pass. How many people tune in at 4 in the afternoon to check out fights that they didn't even know were fighters they didn't even know were on the card, first off. And second off, on Big Fox, you're pulling in a lot of fans that didn't even know it was coming on Big Fox. They're watching another sports show. I don't know. I just didn't think it was the card for Fox. They didn't really promote it that well, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I mean, there were a lot of exciting fights on this card. We had Bobby Green versus Cock. We had Camacho versus Vince Pichel. Dennis Bermudez versus Andre Touchy-Feely. But really, if you're looking at this in a nutshell, now that we've kind of been able to digest it, really, it was just bullshit on the judges. There was a lot of awful calls that a lot of fans agree with. Dennis Bermudez versus Touchy-Feely being one. A lot of people thought Dennis Bermudez won, including myself. I scored the first and the second for Bermudez and the third for Touchy-Feely. I thought Bermudez had some really nice sharp combinations, but Andre Touchy-Feely, I mean, he had a really good reach advantage there, and he was really good with the hooks and the long jab. But honestly, it was agreed by fans that the judges really were shit on UFC Charlotte. At least we did not have to worry about a single judge in the main event for Jacare Souza versus Derek Brunson, where he gets the TKO in the very first round, 3 minutes and 51 seconds, and he actually sat and cried at the end of the fight. And he said just a couple weeks ago, about 4 months ago, I guess, that his wife even had to bathe him. It's just so sad because you don't know what's going on with a lot of fighters before they get into the cage, and they tell you afterwards, you're like, holy shit. Like, if you see some of the footage from Cyborg or Joanna Jędrzejczyk of cutting weight, just like, it's brutal, man. And Jacare Souza, if you look at his performance, what he was able to do against Derek Brunson, and that kick that he landed was just so powerful. To think that guy had trouble bathing himself just months ago is really hard to swallow. Hats off to him, man. It's really weighed down on Jacare Souza. You can tell he needed to go in there and win this fight. It just seemed like he was mentally trying to keep himself afloat. He came out doing the shimmy, which he actually, I really think he broke a record. I think his walkout time was almost 4 minutes total. I mean, where are the record for that? I mean, who is the guy who took the longest, or who was taking the longest time to get the octagon? I think Jacare definitely won it this weekend. But, no loss for Derek Brunson either. Jacare is a tough opponent. Derek Brunson, I mean, he's one of those guys that once you get him to the top 5, he's just missing something right there where he's just missing a little advantage over these top 5 guys. But maybe he'll get there in due time. But for right now, a loss to Jacare. But what's next for Jacare Souza? Is it going to be Chris Weidman next? Is it going to be the winner of Luke versus Yoel? Well, Bisping. And by the way, Bisping, I just saw on Twitter, shut down any rumors of him getting on UFC London, so you guys can count that out. If you're out in the UK, do not buy your tickets, according to Bisping, because he will not be on UFC London's card. But what's next for Jacare, guys? Chris Weidman, the winner of Luke or Yoel. What do you guys think about this? Let me know on Twitter. So let's get into our UFC Pickem winners from the last 2 weeks from UFC 220.
Since 1993, MMA fighters from all over the world have gone into battle, shedding blood, sweat and tears to prove that they are worthy of holding the title of champion. At every UFC event, as the fighters throw down in the octagon for our entertainment, each hoping to validate that they are the best by someday having a UFC belt strapped around their waist. A second competition rages amongst the Pure EVil army for the right to lay claim to the prestigious Crystal Skull belt, for ultimate Pickem bragging rights over their evil brothers and sisters in arms. And this week, after climbing their way to the top of the Pure EVil ranks, the prominent honours of the Crystal Skull are awarded to...
Thank you, Min. For UFC 220, our winner was Jess81 for the Pure EVil MMA Pickem League. And for this weekend, we had True Q Mental, who ranked with 2,820 points. Thank you guys so much, and congratulations to Jess81 and True Q. And if you guys out there want your name announced on the next episode of Pure EVil MMA Podcast, all you gotta do is join our UFC Pickem League for Pure EVil MMA, and you do that by following me on Twitter, sending me a DM, and if you are already in the league, good luck next week, guys. Congratulations, Jess and True Q. Alright guys, so moving forward with today's show, we have Max Payne Griffin, who's going to be stopping by in just a second here. And then we have some MMA trivia that's going to be dropping on you guys, which is going to be 4 questions. You're going to have a couple of seconds to answer them. There'll be multiple choice. If you're new to the show, I'll explain it once we get there. And then we have some quick news to run down, followed by this weekend's events. Which reminds me really quick, I will be at CES 48 this weekend at the Twin Rivers Casino, and also Line Fight 40 on Saturday. So I got a busy weekend here on the East Coast. If you're going to be attending any of these events, feel free to stop by and say hi. I'll be with Kobe, the Prodigy Nailer, who's going to be helping out for Pure EVil MMA and mymmanews.com. So always fun when we see listeners stop by, or people who have subscribed to the podcast on iTunes or whatever. Just a lot of fun. Take a picture, and I don't know. We'll go from there. So, all right, let's get into our first interview of the show, which is Max Payne Griffin, who has an upcoming fight against one of the baddest men in this weight division, Mike Perry. So let's get to it. All right, guys, I got a special guest joining us today on the podcast. I've talked to him early on in my journalism career, and it was during his debut in the UFC. So this is kind of awesome that you're joining me in 2018. I got Max Payne Griffin joining me once again, who has an upcoming fight against Mike Perry. So, Max, how have you been, brother? You got
Yo,
fight.
man,
You're
I'm
fresh
good.
out the barbershop.
Yes, sir.
This fight, man, between you and Mike Perry, like I said, early on in my journalism career, I spoke with you. I was a co-host on another podcast, and you were about to do your debut in the UFC, and you actually fought Kobe Covington. So me and you have really climbed the ladder, and this is really a fan treat with you versus Mike Perry. How did this come about? Was this something that you guys were talking about, on the DL, and were like, let's do it? Or how did this really come into picture?
Man, it's funny. I kind of know Mike. We ran into each other a few times. I've seen him at the retreat. We actually fought together on 202. So, I mean, we're cool. And I remember being at the retreat. It was me and him. We're hanging out, drinking. We seen Sean Shelby, and we're like, hey, man, we need to fight, And he's like, yeah, that'd be a good fight. I was like, seriously, we need to fight one day.
So wait, you guys were broing out, and we're like, dude, we're connecting. We need to fight. Like, that's how it literally went down.
Yeah. Literally. It was like business, Yeah. I mean, we're both bangers, and we knew then. And I just didn't think it would happen this soon, So I'm pumped.
So this was something that the fans are really jumping on board, because both of you guys, we know that every time you guys step foot inside the cage, we can expect a really exciting fight. We know that you guys aren't going to lay and prey on one another. We know that you're going to go in there and, put on an exciting show. You just got $50K from your last one, and big news for you, man. You quit your day job?
Yeah. That 50 G's was able to propel me to be able to quit my job and able to finally be able to be a full-time fighter. I've been part-time for 11 years, you know what I mean? So, I mean, part-time fighting, and for me, to just scramble to train every day and wake up early and, stay late, around my 40-hour work in the car wash shop, like I had legitimate career jobs, so I mean it took a lot of energy, a lot of effort, and let that go. The day on the Mike Perry phone call was my last day at work.
Wow.
So it just happened perfect.
And you know what's so crazy about it? I remember when you were
life, so to be able to do it now and to be able to appreciate it. I worked to get here. It's not like I live with my mom and I'm doing full, part-time. Like, no, I got a son, I'm, doing my thing. And to be able to be full-time and structure on everything, get my recovery in. I used to have to switch stuff out. Like, shit, do I do jits or do I rest? Do I do this? Get in the cryo. Because in a day. But now, man, my shit's booked, but in a good way. Recovery, this, that. Man, he's in trouble, man.
Well, I know that
my growth is real.
I know that you're like in love with training. Like you literally live to train. So this got to be opening up new doors for you. We're probably going to see another level of you in the next in 2018, 2019. Now that you are going to be a full-time fighter.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, it's like, I mean, anything else. It's like being a part-time, like NBA player. You know, how far are they going to get? You know, but I mean, those guys don't, part-time. So for me to know what I know now and just what I've been through to get here, I know how to, manage my time wisely and get the most out of my training, the most out of my retention, my memory, just everything I'm doing, normatec throughout the day, different things. I'm on my CBDs. I just, I get my massage this week, but I go to, you know what I mean? I have my recovery like to the max. So it's amazing, so I can train harder. I am, doing more stuff, getting more hours in the gym, not thinking about work at all. You know what I mean? Not thinking about my day job, blah, blah, blah. Now it's just solely fighting, and it's going to be spectacular.
So you started this journey at 4 years old, and now, like you said,
Yeah.
you have a child, and I remember, what was it, like 5 or 6 years ago, you're about to be on The Ultimate Fighter like that, and they like showed all these previews of you, working and everything, and it's crazy. 2018, man, it's just really exciting how the fight lineups for the UFC. I mean, we have a lot of exciting fights, which, before we talk any more about your fights and what fans can expect when they tune in, I got to ask you, so of course you did your debut, like I was talking about early on when we first called in, against Colby Covington. What do you think has really developed since that moment and since you debuted?
Man, that was
UFC
last
202.
August 202. That was almost 2 years ago.
Historic
It was it's good to see him doing so well. First and foremost, he's taking care of business. People don't like him or whatnot, but he's getting the job done. So you gotta respect it. But I mean, as far as me, man, it's been a crazy ride so far, honestly. Took that fight, hopped in there, and then, went down to Mexico City, fought, the Ultimate Fighter winner, knocked him out under a minute, and it's the highest highs and lows to lows, but then I went to Brazil, and, got fight of the night. It didn't come the way I wanted, but I mean, to even, to lose a fight, right? Get 50 G's, and then you're fighting on a Fox card. Mike Perry, I think it's going pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's a blessing. You know what I mean? Even when you lose, you could win, and I really think that she's starting to see what I can do, and even in Brazil, I was talking to Nogueira. He was saying that, Lawrence and those guys were on their feet. The owners were on their feet during my fight. He was on his feet. So for these guys in the game and, these legends and whatnot, the owners, they're the ones who pick the bonuses, So for them to pick me and, my performance, it's a blessing. It just shows, and now they put me against Mike Perry. I thought he was going to fight, Lawler, Till, who knows, Condit, anyone. You know what I mean? He's up in that echelon of guys. And for the UFC to put me against him, it just shows that they do hold me, at a high regard. And they do, think I'm marketable and put on an exciting fight.
Well, right before your fight with Colby Covington, I actually spoke with him, and it's so crazy. People like Colby, people like Cody Nolov, how far they can come in literally just 1 year, and with a win over Mike Perry, there's no doubt if you get an amazing performance over Mike Perry, and can really please the crowd, that would be huge for your career. Definitely one of the biggest steps forward in 2018. And the biggest question, or the biggest thing I'm really excited to see, is what you're going to be able to put together now that you're able to not have to worry about going to work. You're going to be able to focus on the gym more. And, it seems like you're having a good time. I mean, you just won the jackpot at the arcade with your son. I mean, things are looking good.
Yeah. No, it's the momentum's good right now. Honestly, the momentum's good. I'm hitting all cylinders. Like I said, I'm so happy doing this. I mean, I've always worked. Always. Since I was 15. You know what I mean? I've always worked. So for me to work on myself now, everyone's in trouble, Mike Perry's in trouble. He is. And I can't wait. It's no bad blood, but he's a Sav. I'm a Sav. Let's go.
See,
he knows I'm not scared. You know what I mean?
The thing I love about this fight is that you two broed out and were bonding over fight. Like you two literally want to fight each other to have fun. Like you guys, it's like a play date you guys made almost.
Yeah.
It's literally like you guys made a play date.
Yeah.
Like, let's go get 50 G's. Let's go in there and put on, because it's almost promised that this has fight of the night potential written all over it. Everybody knows it. I don't have to tell anybody this. So how do you see this fight going? If our listeners and fans that are tuning in, if they can close their eyes right now and jump forward in the future, how is this fight playing out in your head?
Man, I don't know. I don't want to say everything because, I don't want him to try to,
Of course.
Either way, he's a brawler. I'm more of a sharpshooter, more precise. We both have knockout power. I think it's going to be more of a bull matador kind of, using movement, picking him apart. If you look at his losses, right, they're against technical guys.
Yeah, Alan Joban,
Ponzinibbio. They're both real sound for technical strikers. And I believe I got more knockout power. I know me and him were actually going punch for punch at the Institute, and we were hitting 3 pounds within each other's punch. You know what I mean? So we hit, about the same. So he knows I can hit too. And I hit way harder now. That was a year ago.
I really wish that was documented. I really wish that YouTube growing out was documented, because this is going to be awesome. And
I got a picture.
Is it on your Instagram? Oh, and by the way, what's your
Instagram?
No, I
haven't shared it yet.
Max Payne MMA. For everybody that's tuning in, make sure you guys go follow his Instagram and his Twitter. Jump on board.
Snapchat, everything. Max Payne MMA. Max Payne MMA.
So your division, man, it's been one of the most exciting and talked about divisions, especially last year, with a lot of confusion, it seems, at the top with what's going to happen next with the champion. Of course, Kobe's there, RDA making a name for himself. What do you think's going to happen here with who's going to be next in line for the title?
I like how it's looking because it's kind of open. Honestly, I think for the title next, I think Colby should, I think Colby could have a fair shake. I don't know who, maybe Thompson, maybe him and Thompson. But Colby's coming, man. He's good, man. I'm telling you.
You think if you had a full training camp now, you'd be able to get by Colby?
I'm going to beat him next time. I'm actually liking that he's doing the rankings, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
I want him to be the champ or whatever. He can be whatever he wants to be, But I'm glad he's doing well, because when I am ranked, I'll get another go ahead at him. When I may be number 3, or, whatever, if he has the belt or not. But I just see that I see it down the road. It's good when you get beat by a guy that's good. Nothing's worse than getting beat by some guy that sucks. You know what I mean? So I beat myself, man. That fight fucked me up mentally. It did. I'm not gonna lie. You're like, what the fuck? It was so.
Well, I remember you saying it was almost unreal. It was like you were in a dream.
It was like I was in a dream. Honestly, it was all fake. It was all between me hearing Bruce Bedford, saying my name in there. It's crazy, bro. It was all third person. It was so weird. But I beat myself up over that fight. Didn't watch it for a couple weeks. Watched it. I stuffed a bunch of takedowns. You know what I mean? It wasn't bad as I thought. You know what I mean? I would just, my mind was just gone. couldn't focus on anything. But he's good. Not taking anything away from him. You know, he beat me. You know, he pinned me. I couldn't get out. You know what I mean? He's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of
really good,
amazing stories that are developing for your guys' weight division. So I really can't wait for a lot more of it to unfold. But I really have to ask you before we end our interview, did you catch UFC 220 this weekend and Stipe defending his title?
I saw some of it. I saw some of it. You know, big puncher. You know, the biggest puncher in the world versus the guy that, you know, had to get the job done.
What was your thoughts going into it? Like, who did you think was going to win?
I picked Stipe. I've doubted Stipe in the past. You know, like, oh no, he'll lose it. Oh no, you know what I mean? But he wins. You know, I've honestly doubted him. Like the Verdun fight, the fight with the Wolverine fight, all these fights, I'm like, oh yeah, you know, he's gonna lose. And then he's so technical and crisp and can hit hard. Has, you know, good wrestling. He's just well-rounded, but he's so tough. You know what I mean? So I went for the champ, Stipe, you know, somehow.
Yeah, the head movement, everything.
Yeah,
his performance was on point.
It was beautiful, you know.
So between that and DC, man, were you able to catch DC?
I just saw like the highlights of that, but DC's the man. I mean, everyone kind of knew that Vulcan had a good chance.
Yeah.
This is what he's been doing to all these guys. I was kind of worried, like, shit, man. You know? But for him to, you know, to weather it and do what he does best and grind him out and finish him in the second, I mean, it's good shit. You know what I mean? It's nice.
Yeah, there's a lot of great cards. I'm happy that we had a great pay-per-view to start the year off. I mean, last year there was a lot of people complaining. But before we let you go, because I know that you're tired, you just got your fresh haircut, I got to ask you...
I'm right in front of the gym. It's all good.
One last thing before we let you go here. What does your schedule look like from here on out to the fight? What are you going to be doing until fight week?
What am I going to be doing? This week, I'm going out tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to Louisiana. One of my training partners, Anthony Hernandez, Fluffy, he's fighting, what's his name? Brendan Allen and LFA. They're doing the main card this Friday for the middleweight title.
On my show before.
Yeah, so Brendan's fighting my boy Anthony. And so we're flying out there. We'll train for, you know, kind of, you know, get some extra training out there. When I get back, Fox is coming to do a feature story on me on the 30th, I want to say, which is tight. You know what I mean? That's so big.
Some airtime.
So big, man. Yeah, I mean, especially on Fox, that's, you know, $1 million minimum. I mean, that, you know, it's going to be big. So that's on Tuesday, and then I'm flying out to Vegas for the Performance Institute, spend some time out there. And it's interesting because they told me that Mike Perry's going to be there too.
I love it. This is going to be fun.
They said he's going to be there. I'm like, what?
UFC on Fox 28 is going down February 24th, guys. Have you heard from Embedded? Are they going to be filming you for Embedded at all?
I don't know. It just said the Fox. They're just from Fox. I don't know which thing they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's Fox.
So everybody, make sure you guys go check that out, and you do not want to miss UFC on Fox 28. Max Payne Griffin, who is going to be going up against Mike Perry as Fight of the Night, Performance of the Night, ran all over. It could be even Fight of the Year. So thank you so much, Max, for coming on. We really want to wish you the best of skill.
Thank you so much, bro.
Before we let you go, is there anything that you would like the audience to know, your fans or anything?
Man, I love all you guys. You know, I've came a long way, and they always said this is just the beginning, but it is. I've you know, everyone knows my story and doesn't know my story. I'm a hardworking dude that's trying to fight. You know what I mean? Take care of business, and you know, I love it. I love the support, and love my family, love my fans. Check me out in 2018. It's our year.
All right, well, we cannot wait. Congratulations on not having to go punch a clock again, and we're looking forward for you to develop and have a great 2018. Thank you so much for coming on Pure EVil MMA.
Thank you, man.
All right, so it's time for our MMA trivia segment. This is something that I've been waiting to do for the past couple of weeks. Some of our listeners' favorite segment of the podcast, so I love seeing how you guys did on this. So if you're new to the podcast, let me just explain what's about to go down right now. we are going to be listing off 4 questions, and you're going to have a couple of seconds to answer each question within 10-15 seconds, and most of them are multiple choice. Starts off from easy, gets a little harder as they go on, so we'll be able to test your MMA knowledge here. So if you did not get it, there's always something new to learn. So this is why I enjoy doing this. This is why you guys enjoy me doing this segment. So let's jump right into it. So question number 1. In 2013, who did DC debut against? Was it A, Roy Nelson, B, Frank Mir, C, Dan Henderson, or D, Josh Barnett? Give you a couple seconds. Again, the question is, in 2013, who did Daniel Cormier, DC, debut against? Was it A, Roy Nelson, B, Frank Mir, C, Dan Henderson, or D, Josh Barnett? A couple more seconds here. Alright, so if you answered with B, Frank Mir, you are correct, and you are 1 for 1 so far. If you didn't get it, that's okay. I mean, that even though it was the first question, it was a little tough if you're new to listening or watching the sport, I should say. Alright, so question number 2. The Ultimate Fighter Season 3, starring Kendall Grove, Matt Hamill, Michael Bisping. Who were the 2 coaches on that season? Was it A, Tito and Shamrock, B, Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, or C, Shamrock and Chuck? Once again, the question is, question number 2. The Ultimate Fighter Season 3, starring Kendall Grove, Matt Hamill, and Michael Bisping, was coached by what 2 UFC stars? What 2 coaches were on that season? Was it A, Tito Ortiz and Ken Shamrock, B, Chuck versus Tito, or C, Shamrock versus Chuck? Which is actually funny. I have my Ken Shamrock doll still from the WWF with no nose on there because the girls, the rat spit his nose off. So funny. I still have a lot of my wrestling dolls. But anyway, you answered A, Tito Ortiz versus Shamrock. That is the correct answer. That was a really fun season. Ultimate Fighter when I was in high school, such a big deal. We'd always watch it in the senior lounge, even walking by before I was a senior in high school. We'd always try to stop in there and sneak in just to watch the Ultimate Fighter during the school. And season 1, 2, and 3, all great seasons. So number 3 was quite interesting between Tito and Shamrock. Shamrock was literally about to kill Tito Ortiz at a couple moments in that season. Bisping, of course, becomes the UFC champion. Kendall Grove, which I was always a huge fan of Kendall Grove. He's still fighting, matter of fact, for Bellator. But Matt Hamill, there's some memorable names on that season. Alright, so question number 3. Who fought in the main event at UFC 101? Now, everybody remembers UFC 100. Everyone remembers UFC 100, followed by UFC 200. But how many people out there remember UFC 101? So, alright, who fought in the main event at UFC 101? Was it A, Silva versus Griffin? Was it B, BJ Penn versus Kenny Florian? Or C, Almeida versus Hendricks? Once again, the question is, question number 3. Who fought in the main event at UFC 101? Was it A, Anderson Silva versus Griffin, B, BJ versus Kenny, or C, Almeida Hendricks? Just a couple seconds here. If you guessed BJ Penn versus Kenny Florian, you are 100% right, and hopefully you're 3 for 3 so far on today's show. Silva versus Griffin, I believe that was the co-main event on the night, and Almeida versus Hendricks, I believe, was either on that card, the card after, or the card after that, but it wasn't even a main event. So hopefully you guys got BJ versus Kenny Florian. Question number 4, kind of a recent one. Maybe this is an easier one for some of our newer fight fans out there, but Colby Covington has 1 loss on his UFC record. It came at UFC 194. Who was this loss against? Is it A, Worley Owls? Is it B, Mike Pyle? Is it C, Bam Bam, Brian Barberena? Or C, Carlos Condit? Which one of these fighters has the number 1 loss on Colby Covington's complete professional fighting career record? Once again, the question is, question number 4. Colby Covington has 1 loss on his UFC record. Happened at UFC 194, which I believe is Conor versus Jose Aldo. Who beat him? Is it Warley Alves, Mike Pyle, Brian Bam Bam Barberena, or Carlos Condit? There goes my Monster Energy drink all over the studio. Great. A couple more seconds here, guys. The correct answer. Is it A, Warley Alves, B, Mike Pyle, or C, Bam Bam Barberena, or is it D, Carlos Condit? The correct answer is A, Warley Alves. And it's crazy, man. If you told me at UFC 194 that Colby Covington was going to be the top contender in the welterweight division in 2 years, I don't know if I would believe you. I really don't. But he's been able to put together he's been able to turn things around, and things are looking good for Colby Covington right now. Everyone is talking about Colby Covington. Even winds up on today's episode. So the correct answer was A. Hopefully you guys went 4 for 4 today. If not, hopefully you learned something new. And better luck next week, guys. If you did go 4 for 4, make sure you let me know on Twitter at evil_echo or even on our Instagram at Pure Evil MMA. All right, let's move forward. We got some quick news to run down before we get into the end of today's show. All right, so it's time for a quick news rundown, which means I'm not going to spend too much time on each one of these topics. It's really just to update you guys on what you might have missed during the week, whether you're at work or at the gym or whatever you were doing that you were too busy to get every headline except the important ones, which we covered early on in the podcast. So this segment is based on just some quick rapid fire news for you guys to just keep up to date on your daily, weekly dose of MMA. So starting things off, Paige Van Zandt makes her way back in the news. You guys might remember she's kind of had a rocky road. I mean, her last 4 fights, I believe she only won 1 out of 3 of them. So her last fight, she broke her arm. Even though she's a warrior in that fight, she ended up losing to her girl Jessie Jess. Well, just when things look at an all-time low, we don't know what's going to really happen with Paige Van Zandt. She gets engaged, and it broke this weekend on Instagram. She is now engaged to a 3-0 VFC fighter, Victory Fighting. His name is Austin Vanderford, and originally, you guys remember when Paige Van Zandt broke into the UFC, she was actually dating Cody Nola, for those of you guys that didn't know that. So maybe things just got too weird between them. Cody obviously became a UFC champion, then he lost the belt, but he has a baby on the way with his girlfriend. Maybe things were just getting weird, that's why Paige left the camp. Who knows what was going on there at Team Alpha Male, but Paige Van Zandt now has a fiance. So congratulations to Paige Van Zandt. Who knows what's going to happen next with her. Hopefully we'll see her back in the octagon soon, get the arm all healed up, but for the most part, it seems like a lot of fans have been writing Paige Van Zandt off. So hopefully this is what she needs to get mentally motivated again. And I know that her last loss, she can't really count it against her because of the situation that happened, but still, she is 1 out of 4 in her last couple of fights. So hopefully things will look better for her here on out. We remember when she lost to Rose Namajunas, and then she kind of took a little time away, was on Dancing with the Stars, and came back to get the kick the can knockout over Beck Rawlings. So who knows, maybe this is what she needs. Maybe she'll come in with a new move like she did in the Dancing with the Stars. Maybe instead of kick the can, she'll call a move jump the broom. Who knows what's going to happen with Paige Van Zandt, but we want to say congratulations from Pure Evil MMA. Alright guys, so moving forward with this quick rapid fire MMA news, we have the rematch set between Joanna Jędrzejczyk or Rose Namajunas. Well, let me rephrase that. This time the rematch is Rose Namajunas, the champ, versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk, the #1 contender. And I'm a little surprised, but at the same time I shouldn't be, because Joanna's defended the belt so many times that she should be granted the immediate rematch. But in the past, people like Jose Aldo, people like Robbie Lawler were not granted the immediate rematch when they lost the belt. But in this case, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she deserves it. I mean, it was such a shock to everybody that she went out there and really, I don't know if she underestimated Thug Rose or what was going on there, but Rose Namajunas, man, had an absolutely phenomenal performance, and a lot of fans out there thought it was a little bit too early for Rose, and I said the same thing too, but months earlier, before she had her fight with Karolina Kowalkiewicz and especially Michelle Waterson, after she got those 2 wins, after she beat Tecia Torres in their rematch, I was like, she is well on her way to title shot. Then she gets the Michelle Waterson win, than Karolina Kowalkiewicz went. Now she's ready for the title shot, but there was a lot of people out there that disagreed with me and didn't think she was ready, and there still are people that think she's still too premature to be the champion. Now, I don't know if you can really say that, especially with what she just did to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Well, we have a chance to find out if she really is ready, and if it was just a fluke that she landed one lucky shot, which is just ridiculous for people to say. I mean, that was an amazing performance on Rose Namajunas, and with the performances that she's had leading up to it, I mean, it shouldn't really have shocked many people, but it was Joanna Jędrzejczyk. We've never seen her finish in a fight, let alone just ran through like that. So we'll see what's going on. Joanna kind of blamed it on her weight cutting and this and that, which, you know, I give it to her. We're going to do the rematch now. We're going to find out who the real champ is. And the favorite going into this is already Joanna, which really shouldn't come as any surprise to anybody. Immediately, just thinking about it, I would think Joanna should be the favorite here. But if Rose does beat her, she's going to solidify in a lot of people's minds that she is the real deal. She is ready and has everything she needs to hold on to that belt and defend a couple more times. I mean, she's beat some of the elite girls in this weight division. So this fight is going to be going down April 7th at UFC 223, and on this card also might be an April Fool's joke, but Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson is also on that card. So we're going to see what happens. I believe Joanna versus Rose is the co-main event, but you know, if that fight doesn't go through with Tony and Khabib, which I hope it does, but we've tried it 3 other times. It's the 4th time we've set it up now. Hopefully it will stick together and nothing will fall off. So let me know what you guys think. What are your favorites here? Should Rose be the favorite? Should Joanna be favored, which she is by Vegas odds? Let me know on Twitter at evil_echo and also on Instagram at Pure EVil MMA. Alright, some of you guys out there are probably getting really sick and tired of hearing about it, and you probably think it's just an absolute joke, and you probably thought that same thing before they made this match in 2017. But here we are again, 2018, talking about Floyd Mayweather coming over to the UFC to fight inside the octagon. Before you shut this podcast off or say, whatever, Ed, check this out. Floyd Mayweather yesterday posted a picture, and if you're watching on the video podcast, you can check it out right here in the corner, where he walks inside of the octagon and he's walking around feeling it out, and a lot of you guys think it's an absolute joke, but in my mind, as funny as I think it is, I think the UFC needs something like this year, and if you could make it happen, why the fuck not? Make it happen. If Floyd is flirting with it, find out if he really wants to do it. Conor, we don't know what's going on with him. We have this whole thing with Tony and Khabib. We're saying that it's the interim. We're saying it's the championship. We don't freaking know what's going on. But if Conor isn't fighting GSP, if he isn't doing the whole thing with Tony Khabib, the winner of that fight, why not do it for Mayweather-McGregor 2 inside the octagon? I think there's a lot of people out there that really do want to see that, and I think it would be a huge thing for our sport and boxing as well. As much of a shit show it could be, and probably will be, just like the first fight, which really was so weird and wasn't anything special besides what the media and the public perceived it as. It was just a fun night. It was guys' night out. I mean, there was a lot of families that got together that ended up watching this. Everybody was talking about it. You guys heard me say it so many times, between my banker, the ice cream man, the owner at the pet store down the road. Everybody was talking about Mayweather McGregor, and it's a big thing for us in MMA or combat sports media, for outsiders to ask us questions. It puts a lot of eyes on the sport, and the UFC could use something like that this year. You have Ronda Rousey gone. She's going over to the WWE. We just saw that this week. We have John Jones. We don't know what's going on with him. I mean, what superstars do we really have right now? Book this fight between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor inside the octagon, which I really wanted to see in the first place, because now you get to see all of Conor's tools. You don't get to just see 2 hands flying. You get to see 2 hands, 2 legs. You get to see every tool, every weapon that Conor McGregor has to offer. And Floyd Mayweather thinks that he can hang with it. I really doubt it. I think that Conor has every advantage in this fight. But we don't know. We have to wait and find out to see what happens. And how crazy would it be if Floyd does come over and just starts Conor McGregor? It's hard for me to think of, but it could happen. It could definitely happen. What do you guys think about this? Is just a joke? Is Floyd just pulling our legs, just trying to get a reaction out of everybody? Or is there some sort of seriousness going on behind the scenes, because we still don't know what's going on with Conor. Let me know what you guys think about this on Twitter at evil_echo and on Instagram at Pure EVil MMA. So also some breaking news on UFC 223. We have Anthony Showtime Pettis versus Michael Chiesa. Was coming off a loss to Kevin Lee, and Pettis, really a rocky road for him. I thought that he would do better at that weight class, but we're gonna have to wait and see how he does in this fight. So it looks like it's going to be going down at lightweight. Some breaking news, guys. Anthony Showtime Pettis versus Michael Chiesa. It's going down April 7th on UFC 223. And like I said, Rosnan Hunes versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk is on that card. And also Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. So far, it really looks like we have a great card set up. And just quickly, let's look at some of the schedule we have lined up for 2018 for the UFC. Alright, so February 3rd, we have Lyoto Machida versus Anders. I'm going to be previewing that at the end of today's show. And on UFC 221, going down February 10th, we have Luke Rockhold versus Joel Romero. And then February 18th, Cowboy Cerrone versus Medeiros. February 24th, we have Josh Emmett versus Jeremy Stevens. And then UFC 222 between Max Holloway and Frankie Edgar is going down March 3rd at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Then we have a Fight Pass card March 17th, still to be determined, so we don't know what's going on there. That's going on at the O2 Arena in London, England. UFC 223, Tony Ferguson versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Then April 14th, Justin Gaethje versus the Diamond Poirier. That right there is going to be Fight of the Year. It has Fight of the Year written all over it. It has all the potential for it. So out of all of these that I just listed off, that is the fight I'm looking forward to. And last but not least, UFC 226, Stipe Miocic versus DC is going down July 7th, the T-Mobile Arena. That's our lineup so far in 2018. But before I make you guys wait any longer, let's get to our members of the week.
The Pure EVil MMA army is taking over, uniting fans. The Pure EVil MMA army is taking over, uniting fans, followers, MMA fighters and elite evil family contributors from all over the world. And this is a call to all MMA fans. Your opinions count and we want to hear from you. Use hashtag Pure EVil MMA on Twitter or leave a comment on any video or article on the Facebook page or YouTube channel. Find your voice and come join the ranks of the Pure EVil MMA army. Like these soldiers of the week, ready to receive a shout-out salute from Evil Eddie himself.
Thank you, Minion. So this week, our member of the week is Belvin Flipmonk and Leslie. So make sure you guys follow both of these guys on Twitter. You can follow Belvin Flipmonk at Belvin Flipmonk. That's BELVINFLIPMUNK. And also Leslie at Jackson Leslie. That's JENKINSONLESLIE. Congratulations, guys. You won this week for engaging most. And if you want to hear your name on next week's episode, use hashtag Pure EVil MMA and contribute on Twitter. Congratulations, guys, and good luck next week. Alright, so let's jump into this weekend's huge event. Well, I really shouldn't say huge because it's not huge, except for the fact that I really am excited to see Lyoto Machida back in the octagon to see what he can do this time around. I mean, the fight with Derek Brunson, you can look at it one of two ways. I mean, Brunson can kill anybody with one punch. It's just a matter of who's better on that night. You could say it's octagon jitters, ring rust, which I really don't believe in. You can if you want. There's reasons to believe it. There's reasons that you don't have to believe it. I mean, case by case, it's different for every person, how they're getting ready to get back in there. But in this matchup, let's take a look at this card. Valentina Shevchenko is on this card. Did you guys know about this? Because I haven't seen anyone in the UFC at least talk about this, promote it at all. I haven't seen many people on Twitter talking about this. I have seen people using hashtag Pure EVil MMA like Yusuf, like Rob, like BLT, Leslie, and all you guys going back and forth talking about the main event with Lyoto and Anders. But anything outside of that, I mean, you also have John Dodson on this card versus Pedro Munoz. This is a really good card, but it really is flying under the radar. You also have Green on here. Desmond Green's been on Pure EVil MMA before in the past. So, how aware are you guys that these guys are even on the card? Valentina Shevchenko, how is she flying under the radar? I mean, some people even consider Valentina as the real champ right now for bantamweight, and we know that Valentina is planning on changing weight divisions and taking out Nico Montano, but her last fight against Amanda Nunes in the rematch was very close, and Valentina was very upset, and I remember a lot of fans out there really thought Valentina won that fight, so we're going to see what she's able to do here. But before we even talk any more about that, let's talk about our main event with number 13 ranked Lyoto Machida returning to the octagon on this one. Honestly, I don't know what the Vegas odds are right now where they stand, but Lyoto hasn't won a fight since CB Dalloway in 2014. That's 4 years ago going on now. December 2014 against CB Dalloway. After that, he lost to Luke Rockhold in April 2015. Lost to Yoel Romero in June of 2015. Then Derek Brunson most recently in October of 2017. But for those of you guys out there that don't know, I mean, Joe Rogan at one point even called out the Lyoto era. John Bones Jones in that fight, I mean, after that, it really just seemed like it was just all... Well, really, I guess the Shogun fight in the rematch was when things really just started changing for Lyoto, at least for his career with a win streak. So for those of you guys out there that don't know, let's take a look back at some of Lyoto's fights once he was able to get into the UFC. So after K1, and after Jungle Fights, and after the WFA, which, let me just remind you guys, he beat BJ Penn before he was even in the UFC at K1's Hero 1 in March of 2005. I don't know if you guys remember BJ in the UFC, the differences that they were going through. BJ wanted to fight at other organizations. And the UFC just really was not having it, freaking out, told BJ to turn around immediately. It was almost too late. I mean, it was just an absolute mess. But Lyoto came into the UFC. He had that win over BJ under his belt. So let's see. UFC 57, he comes over and beats Sam Hager. UFC 70, David Heath. UFC 76, he gets the win. Let's keep going. Then at UFC 84, he gets that win over Tito Ortiz. Diego Silva at UFC 94. Rashad Evans at UFC 98. Shogun Rua at UFC 104. But then they had the rematch. And Shogun ended up winning that fight in May of 2010. After that, Lyoto tried to fight Rampage at UFC 123. Lost that fight. Then he beat Randy Couture at UFC 129. Following that win, he fought John Bones Jones. You guys should remember that choke where Lyoto literally just dropped. I mean, first round, if you guys go back and watch the fight, Lyoto was doing pretty well in the first round. Jones was really trying to feel him out. But once the second round started, Jones was just really confident in his game plan, was able to get that choke in on him. And it was freaking tight. Lyoto just collapsed. You guys can go back and watch that fight. So after that, Ryan Bader loses to Lyoto at UFC on Fox in August of 2012. Then Lyoto wins against Dan Henderson at UFC 157, where Ronda Rousey appeared. Then at UFC 163, he loses against Phil Davis in August 2013. Then he wins over Mark Munoz in October of 2013, beats Gegard Mousasi, and then he loses to Chris Weidman, July 2014, beats CB Dalloway, and that was the last time that Lyoto has won. And I really think that he has a chance to beat Anders. I mean, Anders is undefeated, but Lyoto Machida, I mean, that's a tough opponent for Eric Anders, your boy. But, you know, jiu-jitsu and boxing could be enough for Eric to beat Lyoto, but I just don't know. I mean, we've only seen Eric Anders twice inside the octagon. Lyoto Machida is a step up in anyone, even if it is a rusty Lyoto Machida. He still brings an element to the game that not many can figure out. So let me know what you guys are going for in this main event. I am going for Lyoto, and I'm going to definitely put down some draft picks, DraftKings picks up on my Twitter page. So for those of you guys out there that want to see some of my DraftKings picks, I'm not going to be able to watch the fights, so I won't be covering. Like I said, I'll be at CES 48 on Friday night, and then Saturday I will be at Foxwoods covering Lion Fight 40 Muay Thai, which Jarina Bars has fought over there, Cyborg has fought over there for Lion Fight, Antonina Shevchenko, Valentina's sister, has fought there. for Lion Fight. So if you guys want to check that out, it's going down on Access TV. Pat Miltich will be broadcasting, and it's always a lot of fun. I'll be alongside Kobe the Prodigy Nailer. So I will not be able to give you guys updates. All right, so our co-main event, John Dodson versus Munoz. Now, John Dodson has just been running through people ever since changing his weight division, and now he is going to be matched up against Pedro Munoz this weekend. And you know what? John Dodson's coming off that loss to Marlon Morales, but before that, he beat Eddie Wineland, lost to John Lineker in a close fight. I really thought John Dodson won that fight. Manny Gambarian, remember that quick knockout. And then, of course, going back even further, 2015, we had the loss to Mighty Mouse. So John Dodson really trying to make a name for himself inside the bantamweight division. This is going to be a fun fight. I mean, Pedro Munoz ranked number 10. John Dodson's ranked number 8. But Pedro Munoz, man, he is on a couple fight win streak. His last loss coming to Jimmy Rivera in 2015, but ever since then, getting 1, 2, 3, 4 wins in a row. His last win, October of 2017, beating Rob Font. Going for John Dodson on this one, I think it's probably going to be most likely a decision. But Pedro Munoz, man, it's really hard to confuse that guy. Then we have Valentina Shevchenko going there, 14-3 record. And she is going to be fighting a girl by the name of Priscilla Caceria. And she has no UFC fights under her belt. And now she's going to be facing the number 1 contender in the weight division. So this is going to be an interesting fight. A young girl, 29 years old. UFC says she's got some great endurance. She's got physical strength and pressure. But is it going to be enough to get past Valentina Shevchenko's Muay Thai skills? This is something that Valentina really needs here. She needs to go in there and showcase her skills to everybody at this weight division. I think there's a lot of people out there that are expecting Valentina to be the next champ. Remember, we had that season Ultimate Fighter 26 where Nico Montano ended up being the winner. I still want to see Sarge in there. I don't know if you guys do, but I still want to see Sarge versus Nico Montano. That was supposed to be the Ultimate Fighter finale. Instead, they had Roxy fight. But Valentina, man, if she gets this win, I don't see why not. I don't see why the UFC wouldn't just kind of boost her along to get to that championship title fight, because she would be a great champion. She's a great role model for a lot of young girls out there. And Valentina Shevchenko, I don't know how many people you remember, a couple of years ago, she was in like a robbery where her coach, I believe, got shot. Coach Pavlov, Coach Pavel, I forgot her coach, I'm so sorry. I met the guy so many times too. But, that's a scary situation. And ever since then, I think Valentina's been able to appreciate her time and what she's doing inside the octagon, because she is so thirsty for that belt, and she was so upset that she was not able to get the judges' decisions on the scorecard. But like Dana White always says, do not leave it in the hands of the judges. So what do you guys think about this fight for Valentina Shevchenko? Is she going to be defeated by this girl that we really don't know much about? I think that would be a huge surprise. The number 1 contender, Valentina Shevchenko, I think this is really a gimme fight for her to get her foot inside this division and get some hype back behind her coming off that loss. But honestly, with no promotion behind her, like I said, I haven't seen any promotions at all for Valentina Shevchenko on this fight card. Like none, 0. So I don't know if you guys have. Let me know if you have. Let me know who you're going for on Twitter, evil_echo, and on Instagram at Pure EVil MMA. I mean, for the most part, another card, I believe this is on Fox, guys. And I believe I said this early on in the podcast. If UFC really thinks that they're going to get another contract from Fox and FS1, I think they're out of their minds if they're going to be feeding them these garbage cards. And I don't mean any disrespect to any of the fighters out there at all. But the UFC, man, they're not doing a good job with making these big cards for Fox, which is really showing in the numbers of viewers that are tuning in on fight night. I mean, not only do you have them not promoting the fight cards and some of the huge superstars on the card like Valentina Shevchenko, who's really put in all the footwork that she needs for the UFC to get behind her and promote her, and we're not seeing that. Does the UFC really think that Fox is going to renew the package? You also have the WWE, like, right there with Ronda Rousey, taking Ronda Rousey out of the mouth of the UFC and saying, we got Ronda now, and she's going to be on our cards, and she's going to be doing this, and oh, by the way, we want an FS1 contract. We want a Fox contract. So it's working against the UFC. And if the UFC thinks that they're gonna, let Ronda go over to the WWE and everything's gonna be okay, and they're gonna put out these shitty Fox cards with really, there is star power on them, but they're not promoting them. That's the one thing. How many people out there know that there's even a fight card this weekend? I really wonder that. It's going down Saturday, February 3rd. Cheetah vs. Anders, UFC Fight Night, guys, and it is going to be on FS1, but come on. Am I just living under a rock? Do I not see the promotions? I'm on Twitter all day long, and yeah, I see people talking about Lyoto and Eric, but I don't see anyone talking about Dodson. I don't see anyone talking about Valentina. Everyone else on the card, I can understand why it's really going on the radar, but when you have star power like Valentina, Dodson, and Lyoto, come on. What's going on, UFC? What else do you really need here? Why are you doing this to your superstars? And you're all wondering, where are the viewers? Why isn't anybody tuning in? There you go. Either way, guys, I won't even be tuning in because I'm going to be at Lion Fight and CES. But let me know what your picks are. I'm going to be dropping all of my official picks on the Twitter page and also on Instagram like I do every time. And also, guys, Facebook at Pure EVil MMA. Just a quick reminder, we got all new merch up at teespring.com/pureevil. You guys want guy hoodies, girl tees, mugs, stickers, whatever you want. We got stickers for $4. We have a lot planned for this weekend, a very busy weekend. I want to thank all of our guests, our guests for coming on today. Max Payne Griffin, who's going to be fighting Mike Perry in just a couple of weeks here. I know that right now he's doing some stuff for Fox right now. He's going to be doing the special on there. So thank you so much for spending time here on Pure EVil MMA with our listeners. And if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to throw out there that you want to see on next week's show, make sure you're using hashtag Pure EVil MMA. And the more you engage, the better of a chance you guys have of becoming next week's member of the week. And make sure you get your UFC Pickem picks in. I just want to remind everybody really quick, we're going to be doing a giveaway in the next couple of weeks. And all you have to do is go on iTunes and leave a review. And that's it. You have a chance to win a Pure EVil MMA picture of our logo with a signed autograph from yours truly, Evil Eddie, right here from the East Coast, sending it from New Haven to wherever you may be in the world. We got listeners all over the world, from Brazil to Amsterdam to California, Canada, all over Alaska. It's crazy how many people out there listen to the show from all different continents. It just blows my mind, and it makes it so exciting, guys. So keep it up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, where you keep interacting with me. Get your hands on some of the new merch for Pure EVil MMA in 2018. Become part of the Pure EVil Street Team out there. I want to thank Max Griffin. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys did great on the quiz show. And last but not least, guys, behave yourselves.